Parliament resume. Honourable members, the debate we have begin the morning finish. Now we like opening the floor for anyone who like participate or contribute to the motion. Now we like invite him, honourable member Ismailita, and the leader of the independent group. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order. Me want to survive the question of quorum. You may satisfy me, then you may go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now the issue of quorum has been raised, and the UB quorum only 17. So I will now call the Parliament to be interrupted for 15 minutes. Thank you. Imtal Karim number, Imtal starting meeting Imtal now. So now we like invite him, the leader of the independent group, for starting debate blame. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Also, I'd like for thanking government for getting the budget 2026 appropriation bill 2025. So we get together to debate a budget that carries the promises of securing a stronger and more stable future for our nation, the Solomon Islands. It offers an important opportunity to shape development and improve the well-being of our people. However, with reference to the PAC report, a closer look at figures reveals areas where the budget does not yet fully match the real and pressing needs of our urban centers, rural communities, and remote provinces. My first and foremost concern is the continued under-sourcing of some of our most critical government ministries and institutions that require adequate support to deliver essential services and drive national progress. So, to my good friend, my brother, Minister for Health, Medical Services, you may expect them too for combating what are NDCs, malaria, dengue, and maternal mortality with clinics that some fella lack them now, drugs and equipments. I think my good friend Minister is working very hard on this, but mainly on the rural areas, focus on rural areas. Mostly, sometimes, Mr. Speaker, we focus more on urban areas rather than focus on rural areas. If I know you go to rural areas, you will also hear about shortage of drugs and conditions have a little bit run down, Mr. Speaker. But urban areas, I thank the Minister and work very hard for this one. I think I have some discussions with the Minister, and that is a very good idea if government can pick him up on the building of small mini hospitals in constituencies. I know Minister have got a plan for that one. And if that one happen, Lord, constituencies, believe me, I think we will have a very good health facilities for people living in the rural area, especially. So the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development is asked to shape the minds of our future generations. Our greatest resource are with overcrowded classrooms, lack of textbooks, and teachers struggling to get more. This is also, say, if you reflect back to our rural areas, you will find this one too, yeah? And I think inside the town, but I think in same too. Spaces, what students or classrooms are overloaded. The Ministry of Infrastructure Development is given a pretense to maintain the roads that connect our island's economy while bridges wash away in the rainy season. Our Ministry of Environment, sir, is allocated a mere 1% of the budget when our economy is heavily burdened on our natural environment. So, like Minister of Planning and Total today, I'm good, but I think it's good to look through inside Lord budget, Mr. Speaker. Only 1% is given to environment. And you know, Mr. Speaker, environment is a very, very important ministry. we're focused more on looking after our resources, Mr. Speaker. Especially time we go into mining sectors more. Just listening to the PS and the senior staffs of the ministry, I mean, they're really not happy with the budget, Mr. Speaker. And it is important that, I mean, me like for must allocate budgets, Lord ministries here with him, yeah? Budget what I like him for what I work, for implement him now what policies brought the ministry, Mr. Speaker. So this is a deliberate this investment in our nation's foundation. I don't think we are saving money, Mr. Speaker, but I think we are accruing a massive social debt that will cripple our immediate future. Speaker, sir, this leads directly to my second point. This budget is completely inadequate to deliver the basic services our people deserve. I see this on top of our context of increased population growth, lack of progress in vital areas of development. And I don't know, but there are so much discussions on our nation's issues. So on the agriculture, sir, me like thank you, Minister, and the team, MPS and the ministry. I think that's the way forward to take. I think they have make some change, some direction change. How what are doing budget for implementing on projects. We have heard about revolve funds, but now PSM become PAC, MLB, changes that they will see how they get those funds down to the constituencies. And this is very good, Mr. Speaker. I think this is how we have to do things, Mr. Speaker. Go down a lot, farmers blame, Mr. Speaker. Yeah? People were working economy and Mr. Speaker. The cocoa for copper cutters, cocoa people. So I think this is one thing me looking at good. So me like for thanking Minister Tim Lemlo Ministry for how the drastic directions that are taken this time for are not implementing funds flow to the ministry in the Speaker. So if you can recall back before, a few decades back, when those governments at the time, they do small fund subsidies, I'd call them. And some of these subsidies are what they may benefit from him this time, Mr. Speaker. The coconut trees, the cocoa trees, what they grow during that time. Now our people are still harvesting through funds going down to them. So me happy law. Time PSM tell them that for our program, we're really happy, Minister, Mr. Speaker, that I think me like for thanking Minister for. Also on fisheries too, I think that's what I mean, our productive ministries should start for me lulukulhem. Time me bypass him na sa wala areas here, imi look him na outcome, Mr. Speaker. Outcome him not turn out good na. Yeah. Outcome of the economy have no work out good, Mr. Speaker. Why are former government, former members of parliament before? What are all money, Mr. What no what? What the building of factories? Yeah. What the kind of thing block how? If you come, if you change it, if you look more like another ways round where him no work out, Mr. Speaker. I mean, me just like for Putum come for him, everyone, me look like how me doing things, Mr. Speaker. Sir, also in the mining sector, Mr. Speaker, I think the forestry sector, Mr. Speaker, loggings. That's why, if you look at the budget of the environment, only 1%. How about the Wakamana go for monitoring water places here, water logging areas and mining areas? Yes. But this is not good, Mr. Speaker. Sir, in asking these questions, it is fundamental to rethink on the first day of our government that it is to provide for the welfare of our people. Every time it's a budget for people. If it is for people, then make that thing go down straight to our people for receiving, for what the benefit from it, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, this budget may have failed that duty when a mother in Malaita gets emergency care, when a student in Temutu has no access to proper educational facilities, when a cocoa farmer in Makira cannot get their produce to market because there is no proper wharves and a regular transport. Sir, this budget is not an abstract document. It has been heard time and again that the purse is small. This is all we can afford. Seleno Staka. So, which brings me to my final and most critical point, the desperate need to build and enhance our domestic revenue streams. Mr. Speaker, sir, we cannot forever rely on the validity of our logging and external aid to balance our books. The solution is our fiscal crisis. Is not to perpetually cut services. The solution is to build a resilient Solomon Islands-owned economy. We must aggressively formalize our economy and improve the efficiency of the Internal Revenue Division to collect what is already owed. We must ensure that all businesses, especially those in the extractive industries, pay their fair shares of taxes without exception. We must diversify our revenue base by investing in an incentivizing sustainable industries beyond logging, such as tourism, coconut processing, tuna fisheries, and cocoa, so that we are not merely selling off our national capital, Mr. Speaker. We must help our provincial government improve their revenue base and prepare them for more decentralization functions. We must be ready to be able to run basic service delivery in our rural communities with revenue generated at our local level. In doing so, Mr. Speaker, sir, we must combat corruption and mismanagement that sees millions of Solomon dollars disappear, money that should be funding our schools and clinics. If the budget is a canoe with a hole in it, we are bailing water instead of patching the leak. Sir, let me state my support to recommendations 61, 62, and 63 of the PAC report. Parliament must ensure to strengthen the Solomon Islands Independent Commission Against Corruption, SICAC, and ensure it can fulfill its mandate effectively. So I think these very important institutions, local government, but are lacking resources now, Mr. Speaker. When we ask them during PAC meeting, what's the number of funds now from running? But these are very important institutions, local government, Mr. Speaker. SICAC, Ombudsman. So, me like him no more for government try to look for, give him some selling law. Put to money go lot institutions here. For what a carry out worker block, Mr. Speaker. These are very, very important institutions. It is essential that the government fully implement those recommendations, Mr. Speaker, so that ensuring the legislative framework of what's how we do him, enforce him, align with the international standards. Second, the Commission must be support to secure land and construct a permanent proposed build office that guarantees its operational independence, Mr. Speaker. This is our something authorizing, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I like for, sometimes if you forget them, no more, I may look at Mr. Speaker. If you forget them what institutions. Yeah. Imisa that protecting the confidentiality of investigations, enhance the integrity of its work. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the government should immediately unfreeze the outstanding vacancies with SICAC, allowing the institution to recruit specialist staff it urgently needs to investigate, prevent, and prosecute corruption. Together, these measures will provide SICAC with legal, physical, and human resource capacity required to function as a credible and effective anti-corruption body, Mr. Speaker. So I mean a long time no more. Few things here no more, me like for raising. So if they were not noble undertaking, would not be justified in passing a document that still carries notable flaws. What our people deserve is a true budget of hope for the Solomon Islands, one that adequately funds our ministries, prioritize service delivery from Temotu to Southlands, Mr. Speaker, and demonstrate boldness in pursuing sustainable homegrown revenues. Yet, despite its weakness, this budget lays an important foundation upon which we can continue to build. For that reason, and with the confidence that improvements will follow, I lend my support to the bill, Mr. Speaker, and I resume my seat.
Thank you very much, Honourable Leader for the Independent Group, for your contribution to the bill. Now I'd like to give the opportunity to the Minister for Provincial Government. Thank you.
Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity, the Minister for Provincial Government and Institutional Strengthening. I'd also like to thank the Chair for the Public Accounts Committee for giving me the opportunity. To begin with, Sir, let me take this opportunity to thank everyone who has worked diligently to complete this budget. Additionally, I appreciate the efforts of the Public Accounts Committee in scrutinizing the bill, scrutinizing the budget, and preparing the report for this House. Sir, my intervention today will focus on the theme of this budget and some of the achievements of the Ministry thus far to put the theme of this budget in context. Sir, the theme of this budget is accelerating economic transformation, resourcing the resource to drive economic growth and sustainable development. So, like other ministries, this team speaks to the heart of the mandate and work programs of the ministry. It embodies the mission and vision of the ministry. The theme emphasizes the need to empower institutions that already possesses foundational capacities, ensuring that they are adequately resourced to further accelerate economic growth. By focusing on those who are already positioned to make significant contributions, the ministry aims to maximize the impact of budgetary allocations and drive sustainable development across all provinces. In practical terms, this approach involves strengthening provincial governance structures, enhancing service delivery, and prioritizing resource allocation to sectors with the greatest potential for economic transformation. So the ministry will also focus on building institutional capacities, improving transparency and accountability, and fostering partnerships with key stakeholders, including local communities and development partners. Ultimately, this comprehensive approach is designed to ensure that the ministry not only fulfills its mandate, but also contributes meaningfully to the nation's broader objectives of inclusive growth and sustainable development. Mr. Speaker, having said these few words on the theme, allow me to put this theme into context as far as the ministry is concerned. Progressing of the Provincial Government Act 1997. Throughout the year, the ministry consulted key stakeholders on proposed amendments to the Provincial Government Act 1997. These consultations aim to address legislative gaps and operational issues, essential for strengthening institutions and promoting good governance. Key elements for fostering economic growth. Significant input was gathered from provincial premiers and the secretaries. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to highlight that this bill is now ready for cabinet deliberations. The revenue sharing scheme. The scheme has been shared with the caucus and cabinet for information. The ministry has consulted with the Ministry of Education and Human Resources, the Ministry of Finance and Treasury, and the Ministry of Health and Medical Services. After consulting with the Accountant General and the team, we decided to reduce the vertical allocation from 15% to 8% for a start, to reduce the impact that the scheme may have on the overall SIG budget. This was shared with 9 premiers and their finance ministers in August this year. We await some data from the Ministry of Health and Medical Services, as well as from the Ministry of Education, before we could return to the Ministry of Finance and Treasury for the further discussions and a joint cabinet paper. This might be early next year. The Provincial Capacity Development Fund, or PCDF, serves a critical function within the framework of provincial development by providing performance-based grants that finance essential projects at both the provincial and community levels. This mechanism not only strengthens governance structures but also enhances local capacity for effective service delivery and climate adaptation. By incentivizing improved performance and accountability, the PCDF contributes to the creation of resilient and sustainable institutions capable of responding to evolving development challenges. So I am pleased to highlight that the review process for PCDF is nearly complete. The ministry has received the draft review report, which reflects feedback from stakeholders such as the World Bank UNCDF, and provincial representatives. I'm also pleased that next year's budget maintains the government's commitment of 30 million SBD, with an additional 15 million for the 6 provinces who did not receive their PCDF in 2023 because of the Pacific Game. So those qualified and Qatar were not receiving share of local 2023, it is now factored in the budget, and they will receive part of the share this year, in this year's budget. In addition, sir, the budget shows PCDF funding from World Bank funded IDA with the allocation of SBD 18.7 million and local climate adaptive living facility of UNCDF with an allocation of SBD 13.7 million. The total PCDF being appropriated for 2026 is SBD 62.4 million. The Provincial Governance Strengthening Program. Sir, the Ministry has continued to coordinate donor financing under the Provincial Governance Strengthening Program to support provincial development initiatives. This includes the implementation of the Provincial Capacity Development Fund, which remains a cornerstone of a performance-based grant system. Between 2008 and 2009 and 2024 and 25 fiscal years, sir, a total of 1,722 infrastructure projects were delivered across our 9 provinces, generating approximately 9,222 jobs in the construction sector. Of the total expenditure of SBD 413 million, 27% was invested in education infrastructure and 11% in health facilities. Additionally, 562 water and sanitation projects have been completed. The Ministry, sir, acknowledges with gratitude the continued support of the Somaliland government, the World Bank and UNCDF, which has been instrumental in sustaining donor confidence and contributions to the PCDF. We also acknowledge the contributions of IDA, of World Bank, UNICEF, UNCDF, and UNDP, who have been supporting the participatory planning and social accountability processes of PGSP. The good news for this year is that all the provinces qualified for the PCDF, demonstrating their commitment to good governance. The Integrated Economic Development and Community Resilience, or IDA for short. Under the Integrated Economic Development and Community Resilience project, these key achievements are worth noting. Community-led planning, whereby 60% of the current projects were identified by Ward Development Committees, or WDCs, now established in 173 wards with 2,658 members. In addition to its contribution to the PCDF, the IDA project of World Bank is allocating SBD 7.1 million in this 2026 budget, mainly on capacity building of the 173 WDCs and their 9 provinces. So most of these funds will be transferred directly to respective provinces for provincial officers who have been trained as trainers to continue to carry out the community-based trainings. In terms of funding transfer, since 2022, SBD 60.1 million has been transferred to WDCs, enabling 573 micro-projects with 756 ongoing. These initiatives have reached 419,078 beneficiaries, 52% of whom are women. I must inform the Honourable House that on average, provincial governments have been transferring about SBD 14 million annually to the 173 ward WDC accounts to support implementation of micro projects identified by the WDCs. Township projects share. In the current fiscal year, the Ministry has allocated an estimated $5 million to the Taro Township project. This substantial financial commitment has enabled the commencement of the transition process for relocating the Taro provincial headquarters from the original island location to the mainland. I am happy that the 2026 has an allocation of SBD 5 million for the township project, which is now taking off the ground. Mr. Speaker, in summary, I wish to thank the Solomon Islands government for its continued support to the Provincial Capacity Development Fund mechanism, which has successfully brought about significant results in strengthening provincial service delivery and improving accountability. The PCDF has enabled tangible development outcomes across our 9 provinces, fostering greater transparency, efficiency, and responsiveness to community needs. We remain committed to working closely with our government and our donor partners to sustain and expand these achievements for the benefit of our people. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I agree with my colleague, the Minister for Finance and Treasury, in emphasizing the need to collaborate in making this budget a practical tool for change. It should impact every household, uplift communities, and reinforce our nation's foundation. With unity and resolve, let's proceed to create a brighter, more prosperous Solomon Islands for everyone. Mr. Speaker, with these few remarks, I support the budget. Thank you, sir.
Minister, thank you very much for your contribution. Let me give the floor to Chairman, Public Accounts Committee and Member for Central Honiara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the space to join others in contributing to the general debate on the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025. So, let me first of all congratulate the Minister of Finance for his first budget speech to this Parliament and the first presentation of a budget to this Parliament. Congratulations, Minister, and also congratulations on your new appointment as the Minister of Finance. I know that you will feel the honor of sitting on that cubicle, to be able to address this country on your vision for the future of our economy, like that. And thank you so much for the budget speech that you have delivered. Man, Mr. Speaker, this is the longest budget speech, 2 hours straight now. So congratulations to Minister. Friend Blomi, he was my officer before, so yeah, you really beat some of us. We only read 1 hour budget speech, no more you, but 2 hours straight now. So congratulations, Minister. But I want to more seriously thank you for presenting a very challenging budget for our country on a very critical time that you have realized that this country now has faced a real reality now, a reality that a sector that we have always enjoyed in the past has now come to a point that, we have to think very seriously now as to how we are going to move over to other sectors that will take our country going forward. Say, Mino got many budget speech here, but I just want to talk like that no more in my contribution to this budget speech. So on that note too, say, it must be a very, very tough time, not only for you, Honorable Minister, but also for others that have occupied that position. Interestingly, in the past 6 or 7 months, the three of you that have occupied that position, it must be a really challenging thing, for you to be able to see the way forward, how our country and go forward in terms of the challenges that our country has faced in the economic front. So, but just coming more seriously to the issues that you have raised and the theme that you have laid before us to think about, I think that is the most important one. You have set the theme, accelerating economic transformation, resourcing the resource to drive our country going forward. Just reflecting on this theme here no more, just by looking at the numbers, I think it is going to be a very challenging one. Because when you look at it, there is already almost about 30% of the gap, the budget here, is going to be a real challenge for you here to really drive that acceleration here. We have a deficit of some 1 billion. And if you deduct more the budget support that is coming out from our donors, it is almost about 2 billion. That 1 billion to almost 970 million. So I can feel how challenging it will be for you to really accelerate him now, that whole process. It's almost like you rev him up engine, then you find out that, fuel him empty now. You run no more, then fuel him empty, then you're turning on low side road now. I hope we don't end up like that in 2026. So we are setting a very high theme to run with, but then there is not enough resources there. To start off with, there is a deficit of some 1 billion. You take that 900 million from budget support, it is almost about 2 billion. So, just running with that theme no more, I just try to express that I hope that next year it is not something that, you will find ourselves, suddenly that, you may run out of it now. We are running out of that resource. So that's my first comment on that theme that we have set. We have set a very, very high message for us to drive it. Let's move forward, aggressively. You may go with high speed now. High speed, what here? Deficit, they finish. You take more block the donors here out. Deficit, and wide go more. So let's put ourselves in the right tone, for me to go with. But for the time being, let's go with that theme that you set in for me. Let's move forward aggressively. I know that you have a plan for next year for me to fill the gaps. I think it is well enumerated inside the fiscal strategy document there, how we are going to fill that gap. I hope that next year, we should fill that gap quickly, so that, we can move aggressively and decisively in driving the kind of change that we would want it to see in the way that the budget is going to be delivered. In the course of our inquiry at the Public Accounts Committee, these were discussed with our officials at the Ministry of Finance, as to how these gaps are going to be filled, and also how we are going to manage our own internal revenue moving forward. At what pace, to be able to get the budget, through in a more efficient way, 2026. Let's hope that, we will be sticking to, those plans. But as you know, that securing debt financing is not an easy one too. It could take, some time for 2026. So I'm just raising those issues with you, Minister of Finance, that, you need to challenge yourself, very, very seriously in 2026. I would say that for me to be really, on a safe pathway, to, run with the kind of a theme that, we have here, if we can run with a fiscal situation of some, spending cover for next year of some 5 or 6 months spending cover, I think we will be on a comfortable zone. But say when we make the inquiry with our team, I think less than 3 months spending cover normal. When I say spending cover, is what that we have available to be able to finance the budget. Yeah? Just like also when you talk about the external reserve, we will say that, we have some 9 or 10 months import cover for our economy to keep going. Yeah? The same thing too, we should treat him the way that, you may run him our own, situation domestically. So that again, poses a lot of risk, the way that, we raise him ourselves, in challenging ourselves as to how we are going to run with our budget for 2026. So those are some of the comments, also me like raising about, the theme, yeah? Of course, I think it's the right one. Let's accelerate now, the side of economic transformation. But time you look go, big hole there too. We have a real challenge, to address, and that is a deficit of some 1 billion. And what's more, suppose you pull him out now, budget support blogamania, it is almost going up to all about 2 billion. Almost about 2 billion. And against the backdrop of a sector that we have been relying on for almost about, 40, 50, or 50 years, some 5 or 6 decades, which is the logging sector. We have now come to realize that, this sector is now dropping, it is declining. The figures that we have been shown here, the fiscal strategy document, is a drop of some 7% normal. But I think the drop could have been more, because we are just talking about a direct comparison law export. But what about in terms of the income that link him out to consumers spending here, where him drop, to all the business services here that him drop as well. I think there is a real deeper impact that it has on the economy. So it is true. This sector has now gone down. So we have to look at other sectors. And it is a sector that most time, when people try to criticize the government and how government is managing situation, one of the first sector that you may always look like him sinful too much. No, I'm not just looking. But you're talking about a sector that has been lifting the lives of our people for almost about 4 or 5 decades here. 4 or 5 decades. Very shortly, I'll come to something that, that we have generated throughout that period, as part of the strategy for developing the sector to something that is more sustainable, which is on reforestation. I'll come to that at the end, but it's a real thing. So I'm very pleased that, government, in this fiscal strategy for the first time has been very, very emphatic about, the need to be able to challenge ourselves to what are other targeted sectors that, we should target in our budgetary planning. And in particular for 2026, we have selected those sectors: the mining, agriculture, the fisheries, tourism. I think we need to start very, very decisively now to move over and build the right foundation, for these sectors to pick up. And I want to join the leader Lomitu in congratulating the Minister of Agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture. I think in our hearing, I think this is one of the ministry, Mr. Speaker, that have came out, very, very decisively in the way that they foresee the way forward. And I want to thank the Minister, for leading that team. Very enterprising outlook in the way that they presented themselves. They've explored all opportunities, both internal and external sources, in bridging, all those resources into our country, and targeting our rural people now, moving into other thematic areas in that particular sector, small, medium enterprises, on youth, on women, and this is, I think, really encouraging about, this particular sector. So thank you, Minister, for leading your team in that way. I really want to mention that, the Ministry of Agriculture, the way that they presented themselves, their way forward, their thinking, change thinking in what is being done now, to other modalities of delivery. And even touching on to, other areas and targeted areas of delivery too. The Minister of Provincial Government, who have just spoken on the PCDF, one modality that has actually attracted a lot of donor confidence. And I think we should utilize that more. Getting more of a delivery, through that process. But you say now, I mean, put him go by him, no him taking praise, so you may run by let's give him go him to you. So don't give him too much on him. Hold him stop, hold him stop. But if donors would come around and then speak to us about, where are the possible, modalities that, we can do the delivery. No forget him not PCDSP, PCDSP or one PCDF? Yes, PCDF. This is, Mr. Speaker, I can tell you, this is one of the most trusted delivery modality along Solomon Islands by our donors. World Bank, UNF, CCC, climate change, and so forth, have a lot of confidence in that delivery model. So perhaps, this is another area that, we can channel other development financing assistance, through the areas of agriculture into other broader areas, because we have to target the whole country. We have a very thin, small, medium enterprises in our country, very thin layer, Amazon. Minister, when you mentioned, other growing economies in Asia that are now creating the market and having an impact on our economy, you spoke very highly of India, for instance, as one of the emerging economies that are growing very strongly. You say one thing about India, they have a very strong small, medium enterprise. So is Indonesia as well. You look at Solomon, you look at every middle level population, that's what we need to target, small, medium enterprises. And I think the scheme that has been developed by the agriculture team and the thinking that they have, I think that's the way to go. Fisheries, I think you need to do that, the seaweed too. Seaweed market is not going up. Take some moment, and then you run your own Google price, commodity price on seaweed. It is really going up. Let's invest more outside the seaweed. This is the way that we will reach this a middle level, populace, in our rural areas. So already, we can find a target, activities that, we can target in our rural people. And put more money along fisheries, suppose, say, delivering well, fisheries. Give them money outside the provincial government. lo where PCDF, put in more money to them, emotion. I think more people in our country are hungry, to do something, to get engaged. They are sick and tired of just wait for you, members of parliament, no more than about to come, hey, you helping me. Yeah, me like I'm school fee more, me like I'm fair for Golo here. Let's find these areas, so that, we can engage them. So I think that's one area, that we can work on, seaweed, So you will find that in our recommendation. This PAC recommendation law this year, say, me to jump here no more, yeah? We are not geared in a way, just to unnecessarily, criticize him now, government. We want to help the government. And you will see the emphasis and the focus of this report is encouraging government to put more resources in these areas as identified through the kind of inquiry that we have carried out with our officials. So that is the emphasis of our report. And as I'm moving forward to target other sectors, that has been targeted in here, in the areas of mining, for instance, that have just come up. Sorry, let me take a little bit juice no more. It is true, say that we have to look into some of the sector, and the minister has, in his fiscal strategy document, identified, mining, for instance. I mean, we have to find where now, is going to be the targeted sector that will drive our economy going forward. I mean, this sector that, we have been relying on has actually dropped now, emotion. So on mining, as I read, the minister's speech, our target is to increase our production from 70,000 ounces to about 90,000 ounces in 2026, for instance. That is somewhat, I must not calculation, some certain, percentage increase. And it's not mentioning a particular mineral production law there. There is no value attached to your target two, Minister, on what are the targeted outcomes that you wanted to focus on. And I understand that, Minister, you have tried to gear up our country, in these particular four sectors here, or three sectors, especially in the extractive sectors here, or the primary industry level, so that, we can work out from, some 2.7%, growth path to some 4%. And it's going to be driven heavily by this four sector. We're looking, a production of some 35,000 tons in copra to about, 23 or 15,000 tons to 23,000 tons, 5,000 tons on cocoa to about 8,000 tons. Minister, next time you increase in font. Me wear glass, but me no say read him now. Speech blue here. From 6,000 tons alongside the coconut oils to about 9,000 tons. Fish catch from 35,000 tons to about 39,000 tons. And then the mining from 70,000 ounces to about 90,000 ounces. So this is what you are targeting to get to about 4% GDP growth. That's excellent. And we need to encourage ourselves in that way. And I really wanted to commend you for coming up, with some challenges like that, emotion. But again, like in the mining, as we are putting a lot of focus on mining now, moving away from logging, we know a lot of challenges in mining too. The taxation regime in mining, we need to fix it. We have done very, very poorly in setting up, the right regime in our mining sector. So let's challenge ourselves. These are the things that, we need to fix first. there are only, two mining licenses that have been issued. The bauxite, or nickel, sorry, and the other on gold, I must say. We know that gold is now, our gold rich project is now really in a mess here, I must say. Let's not hide the reality, I must say. So as we are projecting ourselves, to transition into a sector that might bring us hope, don't lose track of the risk. Prime Minister, let us not lose track of the risk, I must say. I think the better thing for you to do is to be better engaged in a transparent way, I must say. Let's engage in our extractive industry in a more transparent way. And the commitment that the Minister has announced in the budget is a welcome one. I really want to welcome it. That we need to get ourselves into some kind of an international mechanism on transparent mechanism on reporting like that, so that we can improve the credibility of the investment destination in the mining sector law, Solomon Islands. So the Minister's announcement for me to move back into EITI, the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, I think this is just the right course for me to take it now. And both the ministers, who have occupied this position in this current year, to follow money, have a good knowledge of the industry. Because I actually put them there, to run that particular something. Now the Minister of Commerce, when I left, he was the focal point, But time you mean jump out of it no more. Say, why not? So we are here, say, please let us not do this and let us learn from that kind of an experience in the past. Let us not repeat that kind of a situation again. We were there already. You mean jump out Lobotia, and then now you mean go jump into Lobotia. I mean, everybody, hey, and this is a global stage here. You were there before. You jump out, then you jump going jet back more. What will they make of us in that way? What about Tinklo Yumi? You mean chat there, you mean jump out, then you mean come in chat back. So, Minister, me for the thing good normal of that party. Let us convince them in the right way. Let us tell them that this time round we are serious and we are not going to do something silly. Now we are serious. We are serious about the interest of 700,000 people of this country. Their health and their education is what we are serious about. And we are not going to do anything wrong like that in future. I think that's what we need to tell them, sir. And our people ought to know that we need to move back into EITI. Otherwise, it will be a big problem for this whole mining sector. But in this fiscal strategy, we have hyped up ourselves and say 49%, there is going to be an increased generation of our, in this sector by some, rate of about 49%. I hope we get to that kind of achievement next year. Let's face the risk, address those risks here head on before we move forward. Sort out the fiscal regime, I think we need to sort that out. Or some of the fundamental issues inside the sector here, where there should be only one mining license, no more. You cannot get a more mining license inside the one mining tenement. Sort that out too. In terms of us, as a state and equipping the institutions, Prime Minister, let's get that geotech lab here. Minister Blow mining and normal. We really need that geotech lab here. Otherwise, we wouldn't know the value of our mineral here. We wouldn't know. But if we wait no more for what the money the exporter here. It's this quality, emotion, but what is there for us? You know what I mean? So we need to work hard to establish this capacity, to be able to improve the value, our own understanding, and the way that we our own self have to make the decision on the quantity, value, and understanding the market price, the global market price on this particular sector. So. But at the same time, say, let us not forget some of the things of the past that am still hanging over neck. Deliver what is fair and just to our people. If there are environmental issues of concern to our certain, targeted tenements, in our country, no forgetting water. Let's find a way to sort them out. Restore justice back to them. But it seems to be a pattern too, say, and in particular, this particular region. Because, before when we were asking for them, that you've got to have a rate for export duty on this particular exportation. Now the politician and leaders will not come and say, no, zero. I had this experience long past year, say, and I think that was the real situation here, Prime Minister, when you make that sine delo last year. I didn't have the chance to respond to you to that one. That was the situation at that time. It was their own politicians, provincial politicians, who came forward and said, no more you zero. And I said to him, I will not zero it. These leaders and politicians got really mad and then went and then even rubbishing Nemblomivalo that time too. And in the situation of fisheries early morning today, me find him out that my own Blochila company is also a leader too and a politician of that particular province. Engage in that kind of activity. Come on, we need to step up there and then stop in this kind of a situation. We need to step up and then stop this kind of a situation. We don't need this kind of a situation. But Minister, Commerce and tell me more information too. Minister of Commerce, what that part here, something to must learn. But when I look at, the challenge that the Minister of Finance has put to himself, Minister, me reading my budget speech. I think next time you increase in font. Me as I read him now, tell how small it is. But I want to welcome, your vision to really focus on those sectors, agriculture and mining in particular. It's not to say that tourism is going to lift some burden. Of course, yes, we will have to do that. But let's hope that this is going to happen next year. But I think the message is this: we need to change our thinking now, and then you may focus on the other sectors that will lift our country going forward, long our future. Mining is going to take the bigger share of that burden. Of course, agriculture is now well positioned. They have challenged themselves, and they are going to do it. But agriculture, to target them too much, like chamval no more. You separate him, come you may ruin now. If him walk for what chamval, give him come lumval chamval, make him walk too. That would be my message. If it works for others and then it's going to work, effectively and successfully for our country, give it to all of us. Make him walk for you, everyone. Him know what me like him say. And if you will go ahead and then you will plant him or copra, every constituency you will and cocoa, me will central, me will not buy emotion. Buy me will not buy emotion. So reserve some funds for us to buy those products and marketing. Forestry? Emotion. That's what we need to do. Tawe blooming, because buy dollar. You don't buy stuff here. So buy dollar, make him there. So leave it for us, here, Lohonera, for me, buy him. You will plant. And then you will send him come. So I want to tell you one very important message that came out from our inquiry. And this is a very, very important one, lesson for you, Mr. Prime Minister. And it was a very significant one. We tried so much for reviving Nasema. Yumi building water sepak when a copra said somehow have no worker. You know what work? Or the buying agent. Buying agent. Why? Because they are so committed to ensure security, yeah, no any theft, and or to bring the product to the market. So by you looking at your buying center blue or to remain a center no more, but no any copra in Chadlo. I think there was a difference. That the ministry have come tell me, minister, emotion. An effective way for you for really encourage him now. Select him now, a committed buying agent in Charlotte Country. You sign up, contract with them, and it works. Emotion. That was an important lesson that came out from our inquiry along the whole approach in reviving copra, other commodities, and the same emotion. Say, when that message was told, I knew exactly that it was going to happen, because that's exactly how SEMA went down in the past. SEMA go down on SEMA. What go low the buying center here, every stone, every seller now in charge of the bike here. No, in copra commander blue here. So here comes, this very, highly charged policy achievement that you talk about SEMA and go SEMA, but people not down in model SEMA, keep him order. Keep him order, just continue with the minister comments, don't dismantle them, but I think we will work effectively with the buying agents. They have done so well, The increase in the productivity that have come out, it is the buying agent. Buying agent. So make use of them. Me just had a normal radio interview some few days ago from West Gwalior. Madam MP Emlo here. A family moving away from bottle shop to try for buying cocoa. They are the ones that we need to help. So I think they came around looking for finance, but no more. So what I say, I think we will go SIBC interview, no, make them, the whole people harem me. I mean, it's a very effective way to, reach out to you. So, don't forget, there are some committed people out there in our constituencies that, can make a lot of difference in that way. So that's one very important thing that came out. And I really wanted to thank the ministry, and SEMA as well, in moving on in that direction. This is all about making changes, immediately and when it is needed, and then you may redirect. Mr. Prime Minister will tell whole Parliament when he rises how effective that is. So, sir, next year there's going to be an increase in copra production. I think that's what we need to do. Give more money for cocoa too. Just before lunchtime, I spoke with the Minister of Fisheries. He was so geared up, buying for grown cocoa too. You put him more than seaweed, man. Go cocoa. Seaweed, no, but I'm stuck so you try to look at that one, But of course, cocoa is a very, very strategic one. But let's not lose sight of the risk factors. And I want to recommend all of you, to read him no more PAC report here, where we need to put some resources for him, and guiding the way for us, to move forward next year. Say also, you may speak about, the prospect that Babai tourism, Babai himself bringing to this country. I really want to speak about, straight on normal side law, that one, and Minister, I really want to thank you for coming up with a list. You will find it somewhere along a report there, list the recipients last year, this year. I think Shanwala ought to just lump him up Numalo region. But the whole intention of bringing that forward is for me to see, transparently, where will the potential for growth will be coming out from. Reporting thick too much now, so me let's go and page and stuff, but I think you will find them there. And Sir, I really want to encourage the minister that, next year you must really focus on some real value tourism investment in the country. And please, for those of us that have access to that funding, you mean to fight over them too. Slim people, yeah? You mean to fight over them for what, yeah? And Talimod, what time by him open too? I think that's what the whole country wants to know. When it will be open, and open for all of us, not only for some of you. I'm no more small comment blomilo that one, but go ahead and then roll it out. Don't stop. Go ahead and then roll them out. Good for our country. We need to build a strong foundation for tourism go forward. No time for you for criticizing each other. This is a time for you for sit down and then do something more constructively for our country. Because time you go ahead for criticizing each other. We're not building economy. Who will set the pace? Who will set that vision for this economy going forward? No more. It has to be us. So that's my little bit part normal side long tourism say, but ensure equity. In whatever that we do, ensure there is equity for all of us. So, one area that came out very strongly and me just like to follow up here, others will speak about health and education and all of these things here. Minister Blue Health and Education, they are on top of things, just on youth and children. This is a real issue. Recent report that came out shows that we have done so poorly in this particular sector. And in fact, when you look at the level of commitment that our own government has given to this youth and our children, are so insignificant, man. You try to do your own calculation. Minister, I think that's why she's not here. You try to do your own calculation and then you see the trend. Zero. In fact, it's going down. So, I suggested that, we need to bring all of our stakeholders in the country, into Oniarana next year. Let's have this huge forum alongside youth and focus on what we can do for helping now the youth employment children. When we started talking about that, everyone by looking at him, what number we make him out lower there? No, don't say that. If any of us started thinking like that, hey, man, open the mouth chamber, you mean go out now. We are proposing that there has to be, and let us all engage, with stakeholders that are involved in raising the rights of youth, children and youth throughout the country, bring them forward. Because these are the real Solomon Islands, yeah? These are the real Solomon Islands. So let's do it next year. And that's what we are proposing. And from there, we can lift our own understanding. Let's get the state of our youth and children in Solomon Islands and understand where we can actually bolster the caring of these youth and our children going forward. That's what we need to do. Yeah. So we are proposing that, we need to have this a grand youth engagement for this whole country. Let's take stock of our situation. The real human capital of the country, our children, and our youth. Let's give them a space. And if the question is being raised, when would be the right time to do it? This 12 Parliament. This 12 Parliament. we need to take some action, to raise the profile of our youth and children, country Blue. And know exactly, how now we are going to invest in them going forward into the future, I must say. So let me just slightly move over to speak about what now the leader of the Independent spoke about today, and that is the need for Yumi to look at all this integrity and governance institutions of country Yumi. I think I would agree with him that, for too long we have not been able to allow the real checks of our democracy, the real checks of our own the development pathway, block country going forward. We have not resourced them properly. Let us give them a chance now. ICAC, the Office of the Ombudsman, Prime Minister, the Office of the Ombudsman, story blog, ready no more, play around no more. These are constitutional institutions. Let's lock in something there, below the line, so that you may not touch him over there. You may not touch him over there. But I have an issue that, I want to put in my submission today to you. And most of that came out has been featured in the report as to how we think, that we can go forward, to help some of these institutions. In order to be able to, put our own internal resources, and also to attract donors, to help to support us in resourcing them. And that is this. Most time, we have always been talking about some of these things, but, it's a fair time now for Yumi to come out very, very openly about it. And this is particularly true when we talk about, the resourcing of some of these very, very essential services. And now I'm coming to the actual operation budget now. Say, through you, me just like say, normal Minister of Finance, I think this is about time that you may explore now the establishment of a special fund. And how we have been always managing special fund in the past. Samvala, either we operate them in the right way that may perform well, or we didn't got it right in the first place. And as you may go forward, you may leave him normal there, special fund and fail now. Special fund and fail. But say there is no way out here. I think the only way out, no more special fund. As you know, say, our Constitution, Section 100, spoke about two things, no more, the consolidated fund and the special fund. It's either part of the consolidated fund or a special fund, which is not part of consolidated fund. But this Parliament has the power to appropriate. It has to appropriate. So say, there has been some confusion though the way that it is being used in the past. So me just like to resume this one anymore, so that, Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, maybe that's something that you can, invest some resources moving forward, to be able to give some confidence to our donors too, even internally amongst our own self too. How we can manage our own internal resources more responsibly. I think the way forward is special fund here, but it's going to involve a lot of investment here. Sometimes you may say special fund, but you may appropriate them together, Law Appropriation Act too. I think it's about time that we have to move it out. And in your appropriation, there has to be appropriation for special fund, the recurrent, and the development. And the third one would be the special fund. So that in that way, you may avoid him now situation where happened along some of our activities in the past. The Pacific Game, ESP, now the National Sports Council, and even the Electoral Office, even the Ministry of Fisheries, Ministry of Health, Education, that you should have special fund, because you have targeted resources coming out from donors that have come into the country. And donors have expressed their own reservation whether or not Baba have come into there, or there are other constitutionalized, protected arrangement that Baham Shah protect him now. The generous support that they have given to us. And this is going to be an increasing thing, even for Ministry of Agriculture too. You will need this, with interest from IFAD, for instance, European Investment Bank, ADB, World Bank, into the activities that they have. There will need to be, special arrangement constitutionally recognized and trusted to be able to handle their resources. Because the current situation that we are having right now, sir, is quite worrying. More than 1.5 billion of our resources from our donors are now sitting outside of the appropriation. If M come inside the budget, believe me, it could reduce the deficit. If we go through the whole program for IMI reorganize him, the emphasis and the priorities in there, I think it could make a lot of difference to the deficit and the hole that IMI got there. And we wouldn't be questioning ourselves, do we have the right resources to really accelerate in our drive to be able to transform this country's economy? I don't think, we would have that problem, if we have that kind of resources. But it is incumbent upon us, this parliament and our government, to be able to say to our donors, tell us how you would want to trust us. How na baba you trust me for? And so I want to say to this chamber that for the first time, the Public Accounts Committee have called on donors to appear before the committee. And we have spoke with them in a very candid way. And we say to them that, look, the requirements of the Constitution is what we want you, to consider. They will be talking to each other. But this is a very foundational engagement that we have had with our donors, and I really wanted to take this opportunity to thank our donor governments and agencies, the Government of Australia and the DFAD, the Government of Japan and JICA, and the influence that they have, to be able to engage with all our multilateral and regional partners, to get the message right. And I'm sure that, with the commitment that they have expressed and established with the committee, through you, Speaker, Mr. Prime Minister, I know that, you are well versed with, discussing with our donors, in this particular space. I think this is an opportunity for you to build a better understanding with them, to be able to see a way forward, Well, it would take some time, for us to deal with them. But I think the key issue is this here, sir. They have a commitment to their donor government, okay? We don't have a problem with that. But we have a commitment to our own self, the future generation, and even donors that are reading the growth blow, economy blow, Solomon Islands. We want to know what now the impact belong investment blow, donors blow, and how we can assess those impact here in a way going forward. And I'm sure that, with our very eloquent Minister of Foreign Affairs who has just arrived, he's going to be able to bring this message across to our donors, to get our donors, to understand all of this, and I know in that space, Minister of Foreign Affairs before 2 years, and and I know that he's going to bring this forward with them. Yeah. No, that one because you go Rasa now, so me, tell him leave for you. Yeah. So, I just want to say this here, that that was for the first time. And it was also for the first time, that, on behalf of this Parliament, that, we have been able to bring the discussion of, some very bilateral issues, that are so sensitive, but, we were able to have that openly discussed along our select committee. They said they have never done this law region, but, we've brought them here, and then we asked the question about palm to Australia. And we told them that just as we value the services of our citizens that are providing the service in the labour market along various sectors, law Australia, that is so important to you in the economy, law Australia, because one of the most robust economy in Australia, quite apart from mining or the extractive industries, is in the agricultural sector, livestock, okay? Agriculture and livestock. And we say to them that, look, without our people, you wouldn't be boosting your export. and you wouldn't be having your enjoying the kind of net trade situation that you are having, and therefore you got a for you to donate because you are a member of OECD. So, coming to talk too much about what something was saying, but, put ourselves in the same situation, understanding your position and our position in a win-win situation. So I just want to say that it was a very excellent discussion that we have had with our donors in that front. And I hope that going forward into the future, this is going to be a permanent situation that we will have. And of course, with our parliamentary committee like the Foreign Relations Committee should be part of this process as well for understanding at that level. Because, when we come to the issue of labor market, worldwide, globally, man, me telling you, there is a space that is more overly abused here. Me telling you, issues of human rights have sprung out along this space here. Discrimination, all other issues will be connected with how humanity has always been inhumanly treated and in charge along all issues where human rights watch and stuff, and in charge of labor market. In charge of labor market. So me like you must think about that. And I hope that it will become a permanent situation where not only the PAC but come, but let's have the Foreign Relations Committee. And on that note, me like to say too that if a minister, you will make use of the select committee. You will nothing make use of it. Foreign affairs, you make use of Foreign Relations Committee too. Or the treaty blue evil, send him come, make him read lo him. Yeah. Either me will read lo him or put him for office blue him right no. Minister of Health, send some of your report, go along with chairman along select committee. No keep him select normal there, so that all of us, can understand what is happening. Say me little bit digress a little bit here. Say me come back more. All the point that me like underpinning lo here no more say is, I think we need to moving forward the issue of our special fund. Say, and I think it's the right time for me to mention something too. The continuous contention about audit. Say, you will see in our report some concerns about audit. But I think these concerns about audit here, it's all about us understanding where the audit got stuck. No more. Where the audit got stuck. We have made a very, very clear point there that I think when the audit is made on the special fund, when we started those projects, it wasn't operated like a special fund. When we come to the audit, everyone like hide behind special fund. So that's where we got caught up. I think the way forward now is for you to come and understanding how we are going to improve on establishing special fund so that it can be appropriated. And we can come back next year and then you appropriate him a special fund here as part of supplementary in charge of the 2026 appropriation. I think that's the way to go. And the way to go is not to, some things are falling apart, so I hope that it is not from this end that things are falling apart, yeah. So that's where I want to put that issue on special fund. Giving confidence to our donors, making all our institutions that have been always never been resourced properly or being placed on the line to compete for availability of resources here, or to come and then do their special fund. But caveat number this one, Speaker and Prime Minister, Milad for Talem Itwala, Minister of Finance. No resource no or the special fund here with or the unqualified accountant. By special fund no wakai. Where we establish special fund, we need to have qualified financial experts. and accountants must be at a CPA level now, because they must be run in a most professional and best outcome, targeted ways now. Me finding out that every special fund where you may establish him, you may put him over the man where kakalaim kam landa and did not go far for achieving qualification. Every special fund no good. So health, you need to have a qualified accountant at a CPA level. Agriculture, you need to have the same too. So Minister of Finance, I want you next year, you equip him order every relevant ministers with accountants and qualified people at a CPA level. Tawe Blomilo Public Service, please give that priority. You freeze where you put him here, you unfreeze him now. Amazon. And you give all this ministry the space for order for recruit now. Amazon. Because if we don't, every special fund by him fall down by Amazon. And on that note, Chair, I just want to say that I'm really encouraged by one of the recent articles that somehow at a glance below IMF, Solomon Islands was caught on that front. Emotion. And that article, May, it got, I think the research work started off in February and March. Time we follow around, okay, me time here, me bara down, leg blow me bara good. So I think they came around and then had some interview with you guys. But they produced a report in May, IMF website. Emotion. You pick that up. I think me read him here, him here. Yeah, this one. Sir, I want to encourage this House to think very seriously about the challenge that is being brought to us by IMF. That seems to be what is really pulling down management of Solomon Islands, strengthening fiscal data governance of Solomon Islands. This was published in May. And this is Solomon Islands at a glance, below IMF, in all the research and the publications that they have made. You know what, pick him up, this one is not Solomon Islands. And it comes to the core function where me like for you, and you identified that, Minister of Finance, strengthening fiscal stability in the medium to long term. You see, Minister, you pick him for the right one. Say, if you may follow some of the recommendations, not all of them, some follow. Here, I think we won't have any problem. And it will be a good guidance for you going forward here. Sometimes you may look past, you may say, oh, COVID now, so you may collapse. Yeah? Oh, civil unrest, so you may collapse. In fact, you may collapse finish here. Money not you may collapse one finish here before something will come. So let us invest in this. Say. Not 2027, next year, you may start now, Minister of Finance. Let's get our data on managing the fiscal situation of the Solomon Islands immediately on the front list, you mean now. Financial reporting, governance, even accessibility along the way that you mean got out of resources where you go right down where you mean deliver him. But zero, anything, zero. So even on where for you mean putting budget together, we face a lot of challenge here. We can't even tell whether or not we are making headway in that particular investment, or you mean go back, or you mean stand still because of this year. I think if we improve our own financial and fiscal reporting share, this country will make a lot of savings here. Because these are very good control mechanism too here. Very good control mechanism. Share. And that's quite apart from the fact that, as you know, Minister of Finance, both Ministers of Finance were to change each other here. It also have no this one here. Even still a D365 system that you may adopt in this time, it has almost everything inside of there. From reporting to training to almost everything. One follow no you may open him up there one here. every time for him open them up no more for make him requisition for payment no more treasury. All other things him forget him. This is underutilization of whatever the infrastructure that he have made available to you. Say, if this kind of a mentality him continue, back country you may him go back here. So I'm asking Minister of Finance, please do something. Let us invest into the kind of reporting, governance, requirements and infrastructure that is required for improve now the way that we manage the fiscal situation of the country going forward. Say, finish no more. Now I'll come to say Osem no more that in doing this, say I'm sure that you know this, Minister of Finance. We will save a lot. We should be able to have and understand the state of the public finance block country here, almost at the tip of our finger. But as it is right now, even though the kind of spending that we are making this time, we are not too sure whether or not we are making value for money too. But if this kind of a reporting has come, that will put ourselves in focus here, both at the far end and also at the end of reporting. Yeah, from the point of where resources are being requisitioned, for spending, right up to the time we have delivered. So, time you look at the situation here, also you a little bit worried, because inquiries that we are doing has to be guided by some kind of a data. Yeah? It's always very difficult. And even the committee that is led by our honourable member for East Central Godakanal, for instance, the Public Expenditure Committee that should have, put ourselves, in a right position to understand how now, the trend in spending, the quality of spending, where go. We will try, but I think one meeting no more, one meeting no more, then stop straight now. Reporting is just so poor. Either reporting is so poor, or the current situation that you got with, the cash flow, really being, strapped right at the beginning, yeah, and causing a lot of problem for delivery and the demand for expenditure. Say in a small economy like me, as I've always said, demand side will always be driven by government expenditure. And at the same time, government must position itself in a position to be able to attract him now at the supply side, right and quality investment. Quality investment that Babayam continue to supply income, creating more employment, income, and that taxable environment, taxable capacity of the country. So, where government spending may have to go is so important for small economy, for tracking. So I want to encourage us to do that. I think we need to not think twice about this one. We have to move forward and do the right investment to ensure that we improve on the fiscal data, capturing, reporting, managing, governance, law, Solomon Island. That's by way of comment that we like, and that's on that point. The other one that we are now, our logging sector has gone down, the forest sector. And very interesting, how the current thinking of forestry. I think that's the way to go. Now that, you may overly dependent on this sector and overly abusing too, both in terms of, the way that we govern it and the kind of national conversation that is going around. Talk good about it, but you may describe him as a sinful world too, lo diswala sector emotion. So I just want to end on that note, say, when I look at the situation where it happened before, where you only have one or two operators in that sector, there is a better control emotion. Enforcement of conservation approach in that sector, side harvesting, you can actually see it visibly. But then when we open it up to our own locals, problems start to creep in now. Because our own locals don't have that capacity. So they have to subcontract, inviting more problem inside the country. But when we had the interview with our inquiry with our sector, this is what they have to say to us. I think there is a way that, you may need to now approach him as sustainable logging. Meaning, I think it's about time for him to cut back on licensing now. Licensing, you may need to trim him down, and then you may focus on the ones that, we can monitor them and encourage them and do better, sustainable expansion. We can go into downstream processing too. The option for downstream processing, I think we need to give that option, even though if you look longer, all downstream processing longer, this particular sector, it has not always been that promising. We only have two very notable downstream investment in this sector in the past year, Kalena Timber and Pacific Timber Nama. Yeah. And they were very well resourced, have a premium market access, but then go this time, competition in this sector is just so high. I must say. Before, one former Prime Minister suggested him now for go into other downstream processing. I think he called it you meet together holding. You meet together holding, him go for 1 year no more. The next year you meet together holding, him close now. I must say. You meet together holding, go manage a blame, build him own house blame, lo Sydney. I must say. You meet together holding here. I must say, what story here? Tell him legal. Forestry, many by him story lo him behind. Time him this one law outside. Him got him now what they call value added. So when we ask them how's value added going, it is not actually adding, but him was him platinum, but it should be adding up, value added going up, But time we will ask him about the forestry, how are they tracking? Him same no more, So I think all these markets are not growing for us. I don't know what's the situation. But I'm sure that say you know this situation because you are in charge of that industry. So I think you experience the same problem too. Lo side lo that party say. But another part lo him not just side long regeneration. Say me like what was him no more. When the option belong outgrowers lo side lo forestry and come, we tell him everyone plant wild. Me plant too. No New Jersey and plant. Me no sabe South New Jersey plant too. I think him no plant here. I'm saying me will everyone plant. Plant then we will leave him now. I'm saying. Because today we actually asked these people, forestry, how many exports now so far from outgrowers? I'm saying one no more what attempt him, and time him come back everyone cry now gate belong a particular exporter. The point that I wanna tell this country here now, There are communities that have invested so heavily in this industry, reforestation. Me remember before, nearly all of the European Development Fund will come inside, Hemgolo replantation. Santa Cruz, Allardyce, Arara, Poitete, Alu, Lo Sarea. No any value, no money, we take them out from whatever forestry. Huge investment by our European Development Fund. No anything. We were able to turn some into large-scale investment, which is Arara and Poitete, Amazon. We turn them into investment, but Kasem today, those investments are also facing real challenge too. Say, me like a story come, some of the difficulties belong to country, Amazon. And why these are difficulties in some of the sustainable investments that, at that time, we were highly promoted, to undertake him. Amazon. You go along Arara this time, the vineyard plant along Putagita. Hemi closed down, everybody are laid off, and the place is a real Putagita too. Amazon. Putagita Lomivalo Rovena and dreamy. So place here is just a dream town. Amazon. You go there, I think no one stop there. Amazon. These are some of they are not bad consequences, but these are the hard experiences that Solomon Island has to go through. Some of these investment choices that you make. But just look at the amount of grant that has gone down. Some of this reforestation. It creates employment base during those times. What now the market value blame? Nothing now. What now planting Santa Cruz? Mahogany, yeah? What? Mahogany? Kauri? Or one emotion? Allardyce what? I think same too, yeah? And all of that, yeah? What are we going to do? This is the dilemma that me like Osomlo Yumi, yeah? This is a dilemma that I want to show all of us. Yeah. Ingon is going down right now. And 30 over years ago, now I come to a point that it is a national investment. But me like register this house, and I think for you, Prime Minister Puharem, I hope that the Minister of Police can come 30 years ago. Liver brothers have decided for him live in Solomon Islands. We in Kolobangara, we are fighting who now by taking back now, this is a land of Kolobangara. Where in 1924, our forefathers made an appeal and decided to go against him. What now? Chris Woodford did for register him now, this is a Western Weekend under the King's Decree, 1800 year. And we made the appeal. External territory below British, and make to bring him come now, Judge Philip, for come and hire him now, this is appeal. Man stand up here, two grandfather blow him now, take him now, this is appeal. And we had that proper list. The freehold list here were established, and it was like this. They say to them, we allow this land, not for you for taking, but it is for the people of this island and the protectorate. That time we were not an independent country. Later we became an independent country. So in 1989-87, when Liver Brothers decided to go, they had to return it naturally to our own people. They had to return it naturally. There were two organizations that were fighting at that time. Kolobangara Island Council of Chiefs and Lanabako Association. Or every old man would come, then come find him. I was a public officer. They made a meeting and order decide now for choosing not the man today. To lead that grouping together again. In 1992, I signed the deed of trust inside lo, not lo hotel, Prime Minister, not lo ananit lo 83, lo inside lo cabinet na misanim, deed of trust. Lo 24th of March 1992. The first ever time I ever entered cabinet was Solomon Islands. I was entrusted by these 47 people here. Out of 47, one Valahem choose him now, a member of parliament at that time. 43 now. 3 Valahem choose him, 43 now choose him, Jalaman stand up here. Or no vote too, or to stand up. Out of respect, to inherit that right. I remain very quiet about this. Today, I'm Italian. That's how we started KAPL, Gokasem today. I signed that deed that the commissioner is a trustee. I signed that deed that the ICSI is only a trustee for Holem CS. I was flanked by my lawyer, the late MP Blo East Arare. Oh, sorry, West Arare at that time. The Attorney General at that time was the former Government General and former judge too. I was just a little boy sitting low there, 2 years graduated from university, drafted in to sit down and sign the cabinet, just to pave the way for this KAPL. And me like people of Kolobanga for harem this one too. And you all were inside of this chamber and cabinet too, for you all harem this one. You all must harem this one. They were our trustee. They entrusted this Hania for him signing now, this deed. For who? For whole Solomon Islands. And they told me, you have to, at the same time, you must imitate, you have to have the same words that your own great-grandfather had told them. It is for this country. And you must sign for this country. And that's what I did. That's what I did. And I still hold that trust here, Kasem, today. Minus I won't able to transfer him. I don't know. I don't want us to spend taxpayers' money going around and then doing what are things that you be doing, the kind of festival and the festivities that you be doing go down there. No. Because KAPL has gone through the hardship. KAPL was started by CDC. Same with the CDC below SIPL here. Same manager lo CDC lo here and manager below KAPL too. At that time. CDC lo here closed down lo tension. Solomon Tayo have closed down. KAPL never closed lo tension. Mitalem legal street. I have to come back again from Canberra to make sure that KAPL live, go Kasem today. We have to find a new investor for SIPL here. We have to find a new investor for Solomon Tuna. That is what where happened Lord Zilla investment here. I wasn't a trustee that is chosen by because I'm a member of parliament. No. At that time I wasn't a member of parliament. You Minister of Police Baharam this one, Mr. Speaker. I wasn't a member of parliament at that time. I didn't use cabinet. I didn't use the power of cabinet for influencing that particular investment for him happen. We have to wait for the time when that investment have to bear the dividend. Starting from 1992, the market along forestry just went down. We came through the Asian financial crisis. Tension we imigarem now. Lohia. It was just a so difficult situation until in 2006 and 2007 we had that funding from the European Investment Bank. Simply because of the British government, we encouraged me for starting that investment. And there was a recapitalization that came inside, supported by government. There was no party, no any party, no any activities or some you spend him selling for him go down to him. No, it was a very challenging situation. That was KAPL. Because it hinges on one of the sectors here. In 2006, CDC said, Mingo now. And now CDC no longer exists in the United Kingdom. It's the SOE that him go around. Him no longer exists. We had New Forest who came in at that time. Global financial crisis in appeal of 2008 and 2009. New Forest not first one to go down because they were an equity fund investor at that time. It went down. We waited until 2010. Government of Solomon Islands asked him, no, New Forest, are you going to resurrect again or no more? New Forest said, go now. That's how Nian made him come inside. We signed an investment agreement. There will be mills. Tufala mill to be established. Nothing happened until Miharem no more. You will sign more. Where? When you will sign down a hotel or seaside. We saw how by you over there. Not one New Forest come inside more. That's not a new forest. It's an old forest. The same forest where I bow out 2008, 2010 to Nian made him no more him come inside. You know, I say this because that is exactly what is happening in the reforestation sector right now. It is an investment that is going down. So we have to find a way for you to find an way out here. But I mean, got him now telephone in chat long chamber 2 years. So, me speaker, I think you need to stop him now telephone in chat long chamber. That was a situation long KPL. And it goes the same with every reforestation. Outgrowers, the biggest outgrowers of reforestation that we had, no longer no New Georgia. What not valuable today? Nothing. But it is not that. They might have a real value. Maybe sometimes in future. These are the options that we have to look for. But the interesting thing about the issue of KPL now is that what are we buying back right now? Who know the shares here? Because even 20%, you are already the bottom voting rights here. I did not rush getting the shares from KPL for one reason. Market have go down here. And KPL have never ever declared any dividend. Custom to this very day. Who rush it? You need to tell this chamber. Who not rushing? Because man where him that time we order all money choose him. Him here. I wasn't part of you. You Minister of Police, you have to laugh this one here. Because if you were there at that time, they will never ever choose you. You will never ever inherit himself right here. For this country. I'm not to talk about all money all the time. And that was what my own great-grandfather am telling. It is for this country, for this island, and the whole protected for this country. If you were there at that time, they will never ever choose you. And you 10 years old, no more at that time. Yeah. And the more you clarify judicial house, Baba me clarify come to you. So we have a real issue, judicial shares here. Minister of Finance, you find him out come to me. Who paid for the shares and what value? And what is the value of that company? I wanted to know. From a trusteeship point of view, you need to tell this nation, because I have an obligation to tell our people and also the whole nation too, where we will get that. Because the trust is not an issue that we will struggle one time. When we signed that trust in 1992, we didn't struggle with it. I mean, there are certain issues or lists that we will struggle one time. But these are the things that, we have to tell our people about. And this nation too need to know. As I've always said in this house, KPL is for all of us. It's for this whole country. But we want that investment for him grow here. When will that investment be profitable? Just like SIPL. I mean, the model of SIPL is what we want. You benefit on 3 fronts. dividend, royalty, and the rent motion. Why? It is a profitable investment. So let's get it right, lawyer. You, law cabinet, you will go and, I want some answers on this. Let us be clear to our people who pays for their shares, because we did pay for the perpetual estate. It wasn't a gifted one, even though the trust was given to us by a gift, but we said no, we will not have that gift. We will pay for it. So we paid for it for 8.7 million. That's what we did. So that is on that investment. So when you look at the whole reforestation sector, it's a very sad situation. It's a very sad situation. Perhaps, we can see it in the context of a bigger carbon market and a more sustainable conservation investment moving forward into the future.
Mr. Speaker, it is now 4:30. I seek your consent to move a suspension of Standing Order 10 in accordance with Standing Order 81.
Leave is granted, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Standing Order 10 be suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81 to permit the continuation of business until adjourned by the Speaker in accordance with Standing Order 10.5.
Honourable members, unless any other member wishes to comment on this motion, I will put a question. The question is that Standing Order 10 be suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81 to permit the continuation of business until adjourned by the Speaker in accordance with Standing Order 10.5. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Standing Order 10 therefore stands suspended. We may continue the business until adjourned by the Speaker in accordance with Standing Order 10.5. Thank you.
Thank you. But me stop now very shortly. So that's the situation reforestation. It is a very challenging situation for our country. My assessment on this says that, I think in the forest sector, I think this is where we need to demand something a little bit in a smart way from our donor partners to get into the carbon sink. Carbon sink now is still a very, very complicated arrangement, But I think the way forward for me in the forest sector is this, There are some of our donor partners that are still very much aggressive in the areas of production of fossil fuel, extraction of side of coal, and so forth. Why don't we ourselves open up some kind of a special style carbon market? Make them stop when people believe me for further doing harvesting in our forest sector. And then let's look at, how we can demand some of our donor partners to be able to put in money to compensate Imumi to saving our forest like that. I think it works in Papua New Guinea. You look at the way that Papua New Guinea is now working alongside with Australia in saving some of the, conserving some of the natural forest around the Kokoda Trail and other areas there. I know that Prime Minister knows this very well. Let's look at those options. Because, so far the discussions around the carbon trade, this region has got very, very little, success story. So why don't we create a situation that it becomes, a compelling case for our donor partners to look at us and then see this as a justifiable way to be able to conserve natural forest. I don't think we should continue to harvest our natural forests. I think there has to come a time that we need to put a stop to it. You may cannot continue to open them now, this part of the extractive industry, then you may open them up another one now. Say, for instance, go aggressively into logging, then you may go into mining and all of this, that are subjecting, our own, terrestrial situation, development to a very pressing point. So I think we need to come up with some kind of a creative arrangement on carbon trading, where we can demand some kind of direct assistance from our donors. I don't know how that will work, but I think the case of Papua New Guinea would be a case to do that. If you look at the way that a lot of consultants around the world are now flocking into our country and talking to our people and say, look, we have carbon trading schemes, available that we want to sell. Man, go kasem this time, but no anything now. So maybe let's look at those options and make sure that Prime Minister, discussions with PMBLO Papua New Guinea, you can explore some of this and try to find out, how we can actually put a stop, some control measures in the way that you may do harvesting in our natural forest share. And then focus on some of this carbon trading, not the official carbon trading that we can open up to our international, multinational cooperation, but just within our region. And then see whether or not, it can make sense in that way. But I think it adds value a lot. When you put together, the kind of value that it adds to tourism, destination of Solomon Islands, for instance, the broader conservation, on side of diversity, protection, and all of that. I think all of this, government can make a price for it. We can all put together, some kind of a development initiative that can help our country in that way. So that's by way of remarks number that me like for making along this budget share. But overall, it is going to be a very challenging year next year. But it is good to see that for the first time, we have seen some guidelines, strict fiscal guidelines have been put together to help support and protect him now. The integrity of the way that, the fiscal management of the country is going to be managed going forward into the future. I would encourage the government to focus on those fiscal guidelines, enforce them, and to immediately work on arrangement that, we can get our own financial management information system here working. All of that, I think, for next year, if we are going to put better and quality investment into them, I'm sure that it will make a lot of changes come our preparation for the 2027 budget. But all in all, and on behalf of the members of the Public Accounts Committee, I just want to say to your team, Minister, and all other accounting officers who have appeared before the committee, we want to thank all of you. It's for the first time that we have seen a big number of team put together by ministries attending, and we have thoroughly enjoyed our engagement with your accounting officers and your team that have appeared, and we have continued to assure them that our role is to really see where your priorities are and to recommend reports where we can be of help in ensuring that we put the right and accurate reporting and recommendations to this Parliament. So on that note, I really wanted to thank yourself, Minister, Prime Minister, for making all our accounting officers available, and also for everyone for coming forward. And now that the Minister of Infrastructure has come in charge, on a very important note from the Central Honiara and all other Honiara, including yourself too, the Honourable Speaker and the member for West Honiara. Thank you now for putting priority on the road Honiara 2026 and also West Honiara, West Guadalcanal, West and East Road, Guadalcanal. I think next year if we put the infrastructures of these West, East Honiara, and also the Central Honiara on the right pace, I'm sure that there is more efficiency gain for our economy and also a good, value long side law, image law, country law. I'm sure member law, Central Guadalcanal and others will be happy law. This road blow it will go up here and Barrow nice now. So I think this side must fix him too, yeah, law northwest Wale. So thank you, Minister Blow Infrastructure, for giving us the emphasis law next year. And I'm sure that come 2027, Honiara will be a absolutely new phase altogether for Yumi. But for now, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, and all other team that are involved in the putting of this budget together. On behalf of the Public Accounts Committee, we want to say thank you for being given a very, very challenging budget, but let's look forward for a better year in 2026. On behalf of the people of Central Honiara, I wanted to just say no more, if all everyone, members of cabinet and all members on both sides of the bench here, a very, very happy Christmas and enjoy the festive season. Let's all look forward to New Year 2026. With all that, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion. Thank you.
Honourable members, in accordance with the earlier resolution of this House and pursuant to Standing Order 10.5, the House is now adjourned until 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, 2nd December 2025.